What is up, Edison Duel? This is Dionysus, aka Yung Pudz, coming at you guys with some more shameless hypebeast Gigavise content. Well, folks, I know that we just had a ban list drop. There is, it's a new era of Edison Format Yu-Gi-Oh! At least on the ladder. That'll be reset, so I have my work cut out for me to grind back up to the top. I'm not going to start that yet because let's just say, folks, I really lived up to my name today. And one good thing, a lot of good things came from that, but one good thing that came from it, I was at this this lovely, trendy little bar, and I think it was just there as decorations, but they had some sort of literary classics book, and I cracked it open, and it opened to a poetry section, and you guys know how much I love poetry, and the poem that I opened the book to happened to be a poem that was really, really cool and really, really resonated with me. I don't think the folks that I was with really cared about my poetry reading, but I really liked the poem, and maybe you guys will enjoy it. So let's start with our poem today, which I do think is relevant to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Experience. This is Say Not the Struggle Not Availeth by Arthur Hugh Clow. Say not the struggle not availeth. The labor and the wounds are vain. The enemy faints not nor faileth, and as things have been, they remain. If hopes were dupes, fears may be liars. It may be, in yon smoke concealed, your comrades chase e'en now the flyers, and, but for you, possess the field. For while the tired waves vainly breaking, seem here no painful inch to gain, far back, through creeks and inlets making, comes silent, flooding in, the main. And not by eastern windows only, when daylight comes in the light. In front the sun climbs slow, how slowly, but westward look, the land is bright. And, I think in these times that we're all living in, messages of hope like that are something we all need to hear. So, speaking of struggles that may seem to not availeth, I did continue grinding on the dueling book ladder yesterday, and I ran into a lot of Vayu decks. So let's have a little Vayu themed video. This first match is going to be against Duelist M Final Boss. I've run into this individual several times, and we always have a really good game. At the point of recording this, he was very highly rating at an ELO of 1455. So let's see how this match played out. We have opened pretty strong here with a Lone Fire Blossom, and since we have the Super Solar Nutrient, we're just going to Lone Fire once into Gigaplant, and then we are going to proceed to combo. I'm not worried about DD Crow because this is game one, and with the rest of my hand looking as it does, having another way into Lone Fire off of Super Solar Nutrient seems really, really good to me. I also would like a little more gas in the tank, so I am electing to choose to go for Power Tool Dragon on my first turn. You guys know I love to do that. If nothing else, just to gamble. I know 66% does round up to 100%, as you guys can clearly see here. But it's fun. It's the thrill of rolling the dice. Seeing the fear in my enemy's eyes. You know what I'm talking about? Anyways, so we'll get our Titanial out, and then our opponent here says, I'm 11 points from top 10, and now I play you. Damn. And, that's just the way things go. I try and be positive. I say, you got this, surely. I know he's a very powerful duelist. I think I have won our past couple encounters, but most of our encounters before that, he's taken. So really, this could go either way. And, look at this. He's opening, and he's having access to make a Goyo Guardian. So I definitely could be in trouble here. He's going to Goyo over Giga and deny my supervise. And now I just have to answer the Goyo with a Titanial, which, of course, Dimensional Prison can't stop. So let's see how he handles this. He is going to flip the Dust Shoot. We get a fantastic draw in the form of Miracle Fertilizer. He is going to Dust Shoot, putting back the Dandelion. And we're going to go ahead and fire our power tool dragon and see what we can pick up. We do actually miss the Mark of the Rose, but that's perfectly fine because we do have a Miracle Fertilizer. So I'm just going to decide to go ahead and try and play on into whatever our opponent has. I am going to be summoning the Nettles, and the Dandelion's gone, so I'm fine cycling through the second Lone Fire at this point. We are then going to Gigaplant into Nettles and go ahead and get out our Stardust Dragon and then bring back the Gigaplant. And then I am going to use the Hidden Armory to pick up a Mark of the Rose. Mark of the Rose will take the Goyo Guardian, and we're just going to try and close things out just like that. So we will be taking the Gigaplant. We'll swing in for 2,400, 2,500, and you know, once the Gigaplant goes through, then we're definitely going to be winning. But even if we have to tribute it to negate, we still have 25, 28, and 28. So more than enough for game. So let's go on into game number 2. Our opponent's going to side. We're going to side. And, you know, this is where the action really starts. You know, game 1, you know, that could go either way. So as you can see, by the fact that I've drawn Lightning Vortex, Decree, and MST, I'm still on my side plan for going second into value of the patented classic 7 in, 7 out. I think you really can't go wrong with it. I think it takes a lot of the guesswork out, you know. Just try and answer their threats and not worry about it. I do really like the side plan with the bottomless trap holes and the dimensional prisons instead of Royal Decree. I think that's a little better into certain matchups, Glads in particular. But I know you guys also know that I'm a big believer in Swallow Flip. So YCS Providence is coming up. I'm still testing both. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with. But at the time of recording, I'm still a fan of just the 7 in, 7 out. Here we pick up a second Lightning Vortex, which is admittedly pretty abysmal. We do try and set the Decree, but at this time he's going to hit us with the Dust Tornado. So pretty bad for us. No two ways about it. He's going to drop that Shura and try swinging in for 32. We're going to take big damage, and then he's going to pass. So we are going to pick up that DDR, which is not going to be helpful, and I'm forced to Lightning Vortex here just so I don't lose. You know, at the very least, we do have the second one, but now he's going to go ahead and flip up his Fossil Dyna. That set was a Fossil Dyna the whole time. He'll add a Raikou to it, and now we do find our way to a Gold Sark, which is pretty cool, I suppose, but I realize that, you know, I'm going to need one more card to combo, because I'll discard the Nettles, and then I discard the Supervise to get the Lone Fire onto the field, and I just like a little bit more. Of course, it's not going to matter into all this back row, but you know, because of that, I figure, okay, well, like let's just try to take one more turn to draw. He does Raikou my set card, and I do just chain the MST, and we hit Repression, which is really nice. But then he's going to go ahead and drop Sirocco, and that is going to be GG. So probably should just sucked it up and discarded the Supervise to use DDR on that turn. But what can I say, folks? I wanted to greed out, and into those 3 sets, I think we just kind of had to make that call, and we would have lost. You know, Royal Oppression, Chain MST, Chain Solemn Judgment. So now we have an interesting hand here. Double Gold Sark, Super Solar Nutrient, Miracle Fertilizer, and Hidden Armory. So this is not the easiest thing to navigate, but here what I'm going to go ahead and do is I will banish the Lone Fire first with 1. And now I'm going to go ahead and use Hidden Armory and mill, and I do mill a Dandelion, which is absolutely perfect. I had other ways into this. I was probably going to, you know, DDR and get the Lone Fire on the field, tribute that Lone Fire for a Dandelion, and then fertilizer back the Lone Fire. But milling that Dandelion is really good, and it probably is correct to Hidden Armory before a Gold Sark here. But I did things out of order, and I got rewarded for it by hitting that mill. So always feels good. You know, I think Hidden Armory is such a nice, like, I love the mill from it because it's never really terrible. You know, like, you can always at least pick up the equip if you mill it. Sometimes it sucks if you were planning on picking up the one Supervise Engrave and then you mill the second, because now any power tool dragons you make are going to be a little weaker. But, you know, it's that being the worst case scenario really isn't that bad. You're still getting the equip you want, and it has enormous upside in situations like this. So speaking of power tool dragon, we are going to make that. We can safely make it in defense, and we are going to get our guaranteed search for a Supervise. So I do decide to activate that, And we're going to go right ahead and bring out Lone Fire and go into Titanial here. And then I am going to Gold Sark for a Giant Trunade to answer like a Royal Oppression that sticks around or anything. And I could still use the Miracle Fertilizer, but I decide to hold it because I don't feel it's going to add all that much more strength to my board, and it's going to be really good to have a little bit of crackback. So our opponent picks up a Armageddon Knight, which is a really fantastic draw for him. Now he can go ahead and try and do some Goyo Guardian action. The good news is that we have a second Gigaplant in grave, so Goyo is not even going to be able to deny the Supervise. So he does go ahead and drop that Goyo Guardian. He's going to attack over the Power Tool Dragon this time. Basically just, I think he sees that I have a second Gigaplant, so it's the Power Tool Dragon is going to be a better target, and he's just going to hope that his Bottomless and his Dust Tornado can get him there. So he's going to go ahead and Dust Tornado on the Supervise. I'm fine with that. It's turning Gigaplant's effect off and has to normal summon it, but this also does mean that we get to pick up a Gigaplant for ourselves. So we'll go ahead and consider our options here. I do go ahead and normal summon the Gigaplant, and I get a Lone Fire Blossom here, and then we're going to go Lone Fire for Nettles, and then Synchro Summon 8 for a Black Brute Drago. That's what I'm going for here. I feel like he probably doesn't have Torrential Tribute, making the Goyo stick, and if he does, whatever, I'll Fertilizer with Trunade next turn, that's fine. I'm thinking, oh, well, he could have Solemn Judgment. That's something that he could have. And Brute Drago is going to play well into that. And then it's also, going to play very well into Mirror Force Deprison, something like that. So we make the Brute Drago, and he does hit us with the one card that it's not going to play so well into, which is Bottomless. So we'll lose our Brute Drago, but now if we find our way to a DDR, we do have a nice target for that. So we're just going to have to crash our Titanial into the Goyo, and we're not going to be able to answer the Power Tool Dragon. So I'm just going to be forced to set the Solemn Judgment and hope that that is going to be enough to keep our Gigaplant around. We have Giant Trunade coming, so good things are on its way. He's only got one Dark, so we don't have to worry about that Dark Arm Dragon coming down. He's just going to set the Raikou and then pass it back to us. At this time, we do pick up the Giant Trunade, which is quite a good get, as they say. And we will go ahead and summon back the Gigaplant, and then normal summon it. Excuse me. And bring back Nettles. And let's try once again to make that level 8 Synchro. This time we are going to go ahead and do a Stardust Dragon. I'm back on the Raigeki break. Folks, I really think I like it better than Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. I think I'll agree that Phoenix Wing Wind Blast is, its benefit is something that's going to come up more often. Top decking is really strong. However, I think there are situations where top decking a threat like a Wing Blast, or especially like a Zombie World, is just really, really subpar. And it just doesn't get you there, So he chooses not to target anything with the Raikou, so he can keep on milling. Then he does pick up an Allure of Darkness. Unfortunately, he hasn't milled any Darks, so that Dark Arm Dragon is still not going to be super, super helpful. He's going to go ahead and Allure. Good thing he shuffled there because he picked up a Shura. I'm just teasing. That's an easy myth click to make. And he's going to set a Royal Oppression as well as a Necro Gardna. So since we have the Solemn Judgment, I'm feeling like, yeah, I could just play into it. That's totally fine. So I am going to go ahead and try and fire the Gigaplant's effect. He will chain Royal Oppression, and then we are going to chain Raigeki Break to answer that Royal Oppression. And now here comes Gigaplant back. Once again, we will normal summon it and go into Nettles, and then we can make a Red Dragon Archfiend here. I'm making this to play around Morphing Jar number 2. It's probably not that. The card's not very good. This is a very powerful opponent. He probably knows better than to side a subpar card like that. But I'm in such a good position, I can afford to just play to the only thing that stops me. So we are going to go ahead and swing with Red Dragon Archfiend to clear that set without flipping it. And then we'll swing in for 2400. He is going to choose to use the Necro Gardna on this. He's hoping that Red Dragon Archfiend is going to force me to lose my Gigaplant. And that definitely makes sense. But I look up the ruling, and I do see that Necro Gardna does stop the attack from considering to have happened. The Red Dragon Archfiend is going to want to destroy Gigaplant. I take a little bit to decide, but ultimately I think it's best to go ahead and negate Red Dragon Archfiend with Stardust. That 3000 attack monster is not going to be as valuable as the Gigaplant that's already been normal summoned, mostly because I do have Solemn Judgment already set on the field, so I think it's just going to be the highest value there. So we're going to go ahead and normal summon the Gigaplant and use our normal summon on the other one, and our opponent is going to go ahead and concede. You know, we have Stardust to answer the Torrential and Solemn Judgment and True Nade as well. So that's going to be GG. Shout out to my opponent. Very good match. And let's move on. This next value matchup here is against player Toso98. And here we've opened a perfectly fine hand. You can see I am still on Wing Blast at this time. And, you know, again, I think Wing Blast is pretty good, but, you know, maybe just not quite good enough. So we are going to set that Wing Blast and pass the turn. Our opponent is holding off on using the Dust Shoot, and that's perfectly fine. And here we are going to go ahead and try and Wing Blast. When he passes, we'll put that Raikou back on top of the field, and we are going to get 2 tokens from Dandelion. So that's going to be really, really good. Here we'll fire the Heavy Storm. He'll chain Dust Shoot. And, you know, I think the main reason he was leaving that set is just to try and bluff some protection. He doesn't really have the strongest board here. So he is going to go ahead and see that we have no monsters in our hand, and we are going to be free to combo with our Lone Fire Blossom. So we'll go Lone Fire into Gigaplant, equip it with the Supervise, and that is going to be enough for him to scoop right there. Fair enough. I appreciate it, not wasting anyone's time. So here we open with both Tuners and Titanial, so all 3 of the plants that we don't want to draw. Of course, there's still another copy plant in deck. And we do pick up an MST for turn, which feels all right. And we're just going to pass, try and bluff Gores. Our opponent clearly is playing cautiously, sending the Necro Gardener. So I'm thinking, all right, let's just represent Gores and see if that can get us where we need to be. So he's going to load up his graveyard. It's in a really good shape with Double Value and Sirocco. And he is going to go ahead at this time and commit to the Armed Wing and try and swing in. And we are going to be forced to take half of our life points. So big damage. We're definitely in trouble. But, you know, 1 draw, just like Lone Fire Blossom, is going to be enough to get us out of this. And this is why I love Gigavise. You know, even your worst hands, all you have to do is just get just the right top deck. And here there's quite a few that would have worked. 3 SSNs, 2 Gold Sarcophagi, and, of course, the 2 Lone Fire are enough to get us out of this jam. So we'll go Lone Fire for Lone Fire, and then get our Gigaplant onto the field. We are going to equip Supervise, bring back a Lone Fire here, and pull out that second copy plant from deck. And here I am going to decide to go for Power Tool Dragon. We're just trying to go nice and wide and get as nice of a board as we can, especially because I have the DDR and plenty of things I want to discard. I'm not afraid to miss. And that's good that I'm not afraid to miss, because of course that's exactly what happens. So we're going to go ahead and steal that Armed Wing, and then we are going to DDR back the copy plant, and we are going to sink 7 to get another shot at this 66% roll. And of course it does hit this time. Everything is right in the universe. We do hit that Supervise, so we can go ahead and bring back Titanial. And then we are going to attack in over the Dark Grepher, and then we will attack over the Raikou. He is going to choose just to mill. He does mill a Fossil Dyna. Hey, folks, good thing that I didn't make a Stardust, and because that's actually like a little crazy on this replay. This is really, really aggressive. It's game 2. That could easily have been a Stardust. I don't really know what I was up to there. So I do just go ahead and attack with the 2300, and this is going to come up for this next match, but I do want to highlight this. I don't attack with the Titanial here. My opponent has a completely empty board. Attacking with a 2800 Titanial, it's not going to be enough to push in for game. So there's absolutely 0 reason to commit an attack like that and play into Gores. Absolutely no reason to do it. It's not something I would ever do. You catch that? Okay. Just so we're all on the same page. Anyways, here our opponent is going to fire off that Allure, and he is going to pick up a Dark Arm Dragon. Looks like he's got 4 darks in the graveyard, but you can always bring that count down to 2 with the value, putting an armed wing on the field, and then he is going to be able to get that third dark into the graveyard with Armageddon Knight. So that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to put that Plague Spreader zombie in there, and then he can go ahead and drop the dad. So we're at least not dead, because dad is going to need Titanial off the field before it can start using its effect. But he is going to get Goyo off, and that's going to deal with our Gigaplant. And then he's going to run over one of the Power Tool Dragons with the Armed Wing, and then the other Power Tool Dragon with the Dad. And now, of course, he can go ahead and use Dad's effect to answer the Titanial. Doesn't really matter that we're chaining Titanial here, especially when we pick up a Royal Decree, and that is not going to be enough to slip. So going into game 3 here, that was a nice game. I always feel bad when I get that lucky rip, like a Lone Fire off the top to fix a brick hand, but our opponent had the crackback, so good on them. Here we're going to upstart first, and then we hit an armory, which I'm very sad to see that I mill the Foolish Burial. That always feels a little terrible, but it's okay. We're going to pick up a Supervise and set a Solemn Judgment. We have Trunade to answer any back row threats, Solemn Judgment to answer like a Fossil Dyna coming down, and then I'm just going to Super Solar the Nettles into a Lone Fire and combo with Supervise. So let's see if we're able to find it. Our opponent has a hand of 6 monsters, none of which are Floodgates. So he's going to go ahead and Dark Grepher, discarding the Sirocco and putting a Necrogardna in there to keep him nice and safe. He'll swing in for 17 and pass it to us. We pick up a Copy Plant, which, not the best draw, but not the worst either. So we'll use that as fuel for SSN. Nettles at least might come up a little bit later because it can crash with a Fossil Dyna. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and go into our Gigaplant, equip it with Supervise. You guys know the drill. Bring back Lone Fire, go into just Titanial here. No reason to play into DD Crow, especially he's not setting any back row. He's still got 4 cards in hand. I think reading a DD Crow is a reasonable thought to have. And, why lose to something? Especially because he has the Necrogardna. We're not going to be able to go wide and win on this turn. And this is also going to play around Gores pretty nicely, I think, because we're not attacking with anything bigger than the Gigaplant. So Titania would still be, queen of the field, so to speak. Here he's going to draw into Allure. Let's see if Allure is as good for him this game as it was last game. Well, certainly not bad. He can banish that dead Chaos Sorcerer, and now he can Rhoda and find his way into another Dark Grepher. He'll be able to do something like discard the Bayou. And now he has a live graveyard. He could put a Plague Spreader zombie in there as well. I would assume that's the play he's going to make. So definitely has a lot of good options here. Fortunately for us, this Solemn Judgment is going to shut down any type of Goyo Guardian that may rear its head. Things are going to be a little complicated when he does special summon that Gale from hand. And then he's going to go ahead and try and do a 7-star play, and see, because he was going for that Black Rose, he did go ahead and put another Vayu in grave. That way he could end on an Armor Master over our Gigaplant. So really smart play, but unfortunately Solemn Judgment is kind of the exact card that answers. So he's going to be forced to pass, and now we are just going to go absolutely wild. We can Gigaplant, bring back the Lone Fire Blossom, and then go Lone Fire into Gigaplant. And then Gigaplant, we can normal summon, bring out a Nettles, hit the Mark of the Rose to steal the Armed Wing, and that's going to be GG. So let's go into our final value opponent. This is the most recent game of these. So you can see I'm back on my BS, as the kids say. I've got Threatening Roar, I've got Mirror Force, I have Fertilizer, SSN is not helpful, Titania is not helpful. So with a hand like this, I want to just go for the Gigaplant off of just one Lone Fire, so SSN is still live. And then I'm just going to set the Threatening Roar and try and keep the Gigaplant around. He's going to go ahead and normal summon Sirocco and then special summon the Gale. He's going to use Gale to cut Gigaplant's attack and then attack in. And now, of course, I'm kicking myself because even though I can Threatening Roar to keep it safe, now he is going to be able to make a Dark End Dragon, which is going to darkly end my hopes of keeping the Gigaplant alive. And Mirror Force, of course, would have stopped that. I do pick up another Lone Fire off the top of the deck, so I can't complain too much. I go for Miracle Fertilizer first. I'm thinking that, you know, if this gets interrupted by an MST, then I can also normal summon the Lone Fire as well. However, he is going to show me why that is a bad line of play, because he is just going to hit us with the Mirror Force, and we're just going to be forced to pass. So we set a Mirror Force of our own, and let's see if our opponent's going to play around it or if he plays into it. Me personally, you know, this is just me, but I hope he plays into the Mirror Force. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments if you want our opponent to wisely play around the Mirror Force by making something like a Brio here, or if you want him to brazenly play into the Mirror Force. What do you think he's doing? So he's made the Armed Wing, and look at that. He's proceeding to battle phase, electing to keep the Plague Spreader Zombie for later, and just like we said, brazenly play into the Mirror Force. And that is going to be that. So we're going to pick up a DDR for turn, and then we do go ahead and normal summon the Lone Fire, use its effect, summon the Gigaplant, and here we don't have any follow-up, but we're kind of in a position where we need to start putting the pressure. So we swing. Fortunately, he doesn't have Gores here. He does go ahead and top deck the Sirocco. He's going to special summon out the Plague Spreader Zombie, and then he is going to hit the Caius, which is going to banish our Gigaplant. That's how he's choosing to remove it, and that is making that DDR in my hand look ever so delicious. So Caius comes down, we take 24. We get a perfect draw with that Foolish Burial. That's insane, folks, because now we can do something disgusting like this. Foolish Burial, and this is going to send a Dandelion, so we get our 2 tokens, and now we can Foolish or Super Solar Nutrient for Copy Plant. Copy Plant can copy Gigaplant. We can go into Power Tool Dragon. We can get a Guaranteed Search or Supervise, and folks, we still have a normal summon on top of all of this. So we'll go ahead and bring out a Gigaplant, normal summon it, bring out the Titanial, and attack for game. So GG game 1. Let's see what we have for game 2. Always a big threat here. You know, they're getting to go first. They can really easily set up some impenetrable back row. So here we do go ahead and we upstart. We pick up 2 Super Solar Nutrients, 2 DDRs, and a Royal Decree. I hit the Hidden Armory, and I do mill a Gigaplant off of this. So as normally, it'd be correct to get Supervise here to go with one of these Super Solar Nutrients. Mark of the Rose is going to turn on our DDRs. Excuse me. And that's going to give us a little bit of play with that milled Gigaplant. So nothing perfect, but you know, it's something. So we are going to go ahead and set our Decree. Our opponent is going to put a Grepher into his hand with Rhoda, and then he is going to send that Elf and the Raven. Every time I see Elf and the Raven, I always get scared because I know that that means they could be on Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Fortunately, in this case, I do have Decree, so I'm not quite as worried as I could be about Eradicator. I am picking up an MST here, so I'm going to set that alongside the Decree, just kind of being sneaky, kind of bluffing a little bit. I feel like, okay, I'm not going to lose immediately, hopefully. So let's see if we can eke out another turn of survival. He does pick up the Deck Devastation Virus here, and he decides not to commit any further into my board. He just swings with 17 and then passes. I think definitely here, maybe we want to use Grepher's Effect. At the very least, that seems kind of low commitment, but instead what we do pick up is a Gold Sarcophagus. So I'm going to choose to MST the back row here. Probably better to just flip the Decree first, but you know, what can I say? I'm not a perfect person. So we're going to Gold Sarc for the Lone Fire. We will go ahead and DDR to bring back that Lone Fire Blossom. We are going to go ahead and use its effect to summon out the second Lone Fire, which is going to bring out Copy Plant here. You see where this line is going? I think it's a pretty nifty line. And now we're going to Mark the Rose to steal the Grepher, and then we'll use our second DDR to bring back the Lone Fire Blossom. Copy Plant can now copy Lone Fire's level. Then we can Synchro Summon 7, get a Power Tool Dragon out. This is going to get us a Guaranteed Search for that Supervise. And so we'll add the Supervise to hand. And then now we are going to fire the Lone Fire Blossom to get out our Gigaplant. Keep in mind, folks, we do still have a normal summon at our disposal. So we're going to bring out that second Gigaplant, normal summon it, and then we are going to bring out Lone Fire and Lone Fire Blossom into Titanial. So we have game damage on board, and here is where things get a little unfortunate. I do get really, really excited here. I'm so stoked that I did that fancy combo using both of my DDRs, turning my completely bricked hand into you know, a game damaging end board. So I just instantly I say in my head, pew 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 pew, and I click attack with all 4 monsters before our opponent can do anything. Now the reason this is really unfortunate is because I have forgotten that he does have Necrogarda graveyard, and he's going to stop one of these. So what he does is he takes 2300 to 2400, and then he says, okay, I'm using Necrogarda on the 3rd Gigaplant. Here's the thing, folks. After he does that, that means that, okay, so I did you know, attack out of order, but you Necrogarda on the 3rd Gigaplant. That's what you're saying you're doing. So now the game state proceeds from this point. And I would be deciding, I promise you, I'm not going to attack with Titanial if it's not game, if I'm risking Gores, because Gores would just completely flip the situation on its head. But it gets even, so I want to be clear, I made a mistake by pressing all 4 at once, forgetting that there's a Necrogarda, forgetting that there's interaction. I made a mistake, and I'm sorry for that. The mistake that he makes here is he then instantly takes the 2800 and drops the Gores before I can do anything at all. Now I tell him, wait, you know, I'm not attacking tight if you card not. It really stinks here because he did just drop that Gores immediately, just like I attacked immediately. So, you know, I'm sure now he's really upset because he's already shown me that he has Gores. I do think that, you know, this is a really easy read to make. You know, I'm being honest here, folks. You saw it in that previous match. I'm not attacking with a Titanial into an empty board where there could be Gores. And, you know, now here's where it gets tough. Our opponent is trying to tell us that, well, I declared all 4 attacks, so, you know, I can't take it back now. I try to explain that, you know, it's a new game state after Necrogarda. He's not hearing any of it, so we do have to go ahead and call a judge. And so we both explain what happens to the judge. The judge checks the logs and sees what's going on here. And the judge is going to go ahead and rule here that I receive a PE minor. So that's correct. You know, he says Yung Pudz PE minor didn't declare an attack with the 2nd monster until the previous attack resolves. So that's correct. This is a, you know, like I said, I made a mistake. Learn from this, folks. Don't make this mistake as well. Just attack once at a time. It's easy to get excited. It's easy to want to say pew, pew, pew in your head. But you can't be doing that, especially when there's a Necrogarda. You know, come on, folks. So our opponent, and the judge does rule that we don't attack with Titanial. The judge agrees that, you know, I'm attacking low to high. Clearly, Gores is on my mind. The opponent is a little cross here, saying that, okay, well, you know, if I didn't know that the Titanial attack wasn't going through, I wouldn't use Gardna. I would let that 2400 go through, and then I would drop Gores on that. I try and say that, hey, that would be fine with me, but unfortunately the judge rules that no, in this case you did declare the Necrogarda, that's going through, so Gores is going to go to hand. And I think that's a little unfortunate. I would have been all right with saying, okay, you know, like, we both messed up here, whatever. You could drop the Gores, but the judge isn't having any of this. And I do think that's fair. You know, you always have to defer to the judge. So, you know, the judge says playing around Gores isn't unreasonable. And so our opponent does keep that Gores in hand. And, you know, he's upset that I got the free information. And the judge, you know, counters with, well, he did attack low to high. And, you know, I tell him, dog, this is the easiest read of my life. 5 in hand, low field commitment, you know, very clear that Gores exists. So the judge asks us to proceed with the duel. Our opponent does draw a solemn judgment for turn. I apologize again to everyone for attacking too fast because, folks, that really was a bad mistake I made. So here our opponent is going to go ahead and Armageddonite, sending a Vayu. That's going to go nicely with that Elf and the Raven. Now, folks, I'm really scared of EEV. Thankfully, he doesn't have Dad or anything like that, but he's going to get the Armor Master out. So that's going to clear the Power Tool Dragon. And now he is going to set 3, counting on, or just 2, rather, counting on these back row to win the day for him. We do have Decree, however, and when our opponent sees that, he is going to scoop. So GG, again, very, very sorry that I did attack with all 3 like that. Let me know what you guys think about this situation. I think we can all agree this is a bad situation. Am I a scumbag for calling the judge here and insisting that I didn't attack with titanium? You can think that. I think that's fair. I really do think, and you know, and only I can know this, but even if I hadn't seen that gores, I wouldn't have attacked with the titanium. Do you believe me, or do you think I'm scum? Let me know down in the comments. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I enjoyed making it. It's a nice little cap off for my Sunday. I hope you guys had a nice Sunday as well. And I will see you guys tomorrow with some more shameless hypebeast Gigavise content. And I'll see you guys on ladder. It's time for me to grind my way back up to the top. So we'll see how that goes. Actually, let's peek in. Has the ladder reset yet? Has that gone into effect? Or do we still have a little bit of time to go ahead and claw our way back to the top? It looks like it hasn't reset. Look at that right there. I am the number 100 ranking duelist. Of course, I'd like to end the season a little higher. Maybe we should grind a little bit more. But you know, top 100, nothing wrong with that. All right, folks, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. This has been Dionysus, aka Yung Pudz, signing off.